Welcome to this episode of Work the Left Side. It is the first Spotlight episode since our return. We are going to focus on the Phenom, The Undertaker. So I thought if we're going to start, we'll start big and give ourselves plenty to do and look at. We've got the dude's was active for about 5 decades. So exactly, that was my social life for today. It's pretty much dead. It's a full day of watching wrestling, so I won't mention possibly the bad taste of the joke that maybe we all had a cheeky day off work due to a funeral, and I spent the day watching the matches of somebody called The Undertaker.
Slightly ironic, isn't it?
Yeah. I did actually plan this to happen before, obviously, all that happened, so it wasn't arranged in bad taste. It just kind of fell that way.
I haven't had the day off work. I got home like an hour ago.
Oh, there you go then. Sorry.
But I was sat bored to death of watching the shite on the TV that everybody insisted on watching. Holy shit! Like, sorry, royalists, but no.
Anyway, on a light note,
then I heard the word Paul Bearer mentioned, and I just smirked to myself, and I thought it's all worth it.
Right. So, as if you've never watched the Spotlight episode before, the general layout is going to be all of us have watched a few matches or will remember a few of the Taker's matches, taking turns. Just touch upon obviously the dude's career, the length of it. Obviously, it wasn't all good. For me, it was a very 50-50 career. Obviously, the guy's the greatest character in the history of WWE. That's not up for debate. I don't think anybody will ever do what he did for the length of time that he's done it at the level that he did it. But yeah, it was a very 50-50 career for me. Some of it was outstanding. I mean, obviously you got potential, the greatest match ever made or done possibly against Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 25. And then on the flip side, you had matches against Giant Gonzalez and Fake Undertaker and shit like that, basically. So
they weren't his fault, though, to be fair.
Oh no, definitely.
Yeah.
So
Gonzalez could barely even move. Like, I felt bad for the dude. Like, gigantism is not cool.
And then you got 2.0 with the great Khali years later, didn't you, as well?
Yeah, for sure. Same thing again. Khali could barely move because he had gigantism. It's just like these guys are like enormous in stature, but they literally can barely move.
Yeah.
So what can you do with them, really?
they all were pretty terrible, the both of them. Khali and Giant Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Giant Gonzalez with a chloroform rag at WrestleMania 9.
He still got one of the worst outfits ever.
Yeah.
That furry bodysuit.
I was just about to mention one of the greatest attires of all time / worst ever of all time.
It's up there with the Undertaker's skin tones, muscle bodysuit thing that he wore at Mania, I think it was. Right, I'm going to drop Palmer in it first. What's your memory match, or if you've had a chance to watch any?
Well, touching upon your bad taste comment, I thought you were going to mention his thin blue line T-shirt that he wore in that documentary, but we'll gloss over that. Yeah, he's a wrong un. He's a wrong un now. That's the end of the politics, or is it?
Get it all out.
We're just hijacking Work the Left Side to get over our political views.
Work the left side, yeah.
Yeah, man. Actually, quite literally.
It's not just wrestling.
In terms of memories, I always remember the very first memories. This would be of Mark Calloway or Mean Mark Callis back in watching NWA Wildside or whatever it was on ITV at 3:00 in the morning, taking a nap, seeing him managed by Peanut Head, which was Teddy Long. Watching him beat up his jobbers, totally decimating jobbers, powerbombing them, hitting them with the heat-seeking missile, hitting them with heart punches, and just completely destroying these jobbers. Him wearing his black glove, his waistcoat and his ginger beard, and then suddenly just disappearing off TV. And then I'm watching WWF TV, Superstars of Wrestling, and it's coming up with the Survivor Series, and Ted DiBiase's got this, making teasers about this extra member of his team that he's got, and it's going to be debuted at the Survivor Series. All the commentators, oh, who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? Then we're at the Survivor Series, and Ted DiBiase's team's already in the ring, the other team's already in the ring, and you've got Ted DiBiase on the mic, and it says, "From Death Valley, I bring to you the Undertaker." I'm watching this, and I'm just like, holy shit. Hey, hold on, that's me, Mark Callis. That's Mark Callis from WCW or NWA, whatever it was. And he's just walking to the ring, and you've got the classic commentary of
look at those hands.
Roddy Piper's just burying him, saying, "Oh, look at the size of them hand marks." But as he gets into the ring and as he beats up all the guys that he's beaten, I think he just tombstones
Coco Beware first.
Coco Beware.
Then he eliminates Dusty.
Yes, and then he gets chased to the back or something.
He runs after Dusty, I think it is. Oh, yeah. He runs after the Snake. That's it.
And it's just that all the memories of Mean Mark Callis has gone away. And it's just like, yeah, that's the fucking Undertaker. That's not Mean Mark Callis anymore. That's fucking Undertaker.
Well, he got let go from WCW because it was Paul. I can't remember the actual booker's name. It was Paul Anderson or something like that. Basically turned around and sort of says, "Oh, nobody's ever going to pay a buck to watch you wrestle." That was the famous reasoning behind them letting him go in WCW. Apparently, that was the logic. He would never draw any money. It's like, yeah.
I just got finished reading J.R. Slobberknocker, and in that book he was talking about his time at WCW, and Mark Calloway was there at the time, and he saw dollar signs all over the dude, but nobody took any notice of young James Ross back in the late 80s or whatever it might have been.
He didn't have the hat. He didn't know what he was talking about. That's why.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently though, Vince wasn't overly impressed with him when he first saw him. And then obviously they got talking, obviously same kind of twattish mentality in real life. And they obviously got on like a house on fire. So that was it.
Alpha males.
Really much. Yeah, good way of putting it. Ash.
Well, so when you said about this episode, the first thing that came to my mind, it's probably going to be one of the last ones you might expect, but maybe not, was the Boneyard match with AJ Styles a couple of years ago. Because for the age and with his health deteriorating, coming to the end of his career and stuff like that, I just thought that was just absolutely perfect for what the guy needed. AJ was the perfect foil, just sold everything like he was being murdered. It was just loads of fun, and I loved it, and I still remember it, and I've not watched it since WrestleMania 36, however many years ago. Was that 2 years ago?
Yes.
I'm terrible with numbers. So that's the first one that came to my mind. So yeah, I just really enjoyed it, and I like the whole riding off into the. I know it was like nighttime, but I'm going to use the whole phrase like riding off into the sunset kind of thing with Metallica playing over it. I just thought it was like absolutely spot on for.
Got to hold my hands up. I've still never seen that match. I definitely need to watch it. I thought I was going to watch it for this episode, but I figured somebody else would have watched it or would remember it or would be.
It's better I would say it's better than you think it's gonna be.
Yeah.
The character himself, it's like an amalgamation of all his characters as well. Because he's on his bike, and he's kind of like Undertaker, early Undertaker as well.
Yeah, I like that.
Mashed up into one.
I've heard good stuff about it. It's just I didn't watch that. I just didn't. I think it's pretty much. A month or two into the Global Bastard won it, and it's pretty much like I was still adjusting to like wrestling having no fans, and I was just couldn't stand the idea of a Mania without an audience, and so I just never watched. But yeah, it's on my list. I've got access to the network again now, so I will go back and watch it.
It definitely stood out during that WrestleMania. I remember watching it because they made it a 2-day event, didn't they? And that match was, it stood out because it was different.
Like I say, it's perfect for Taker and what he could do at the time. It definitely suited him. His restrictions, with stuff like that, we've seen it with countless broken, the Matt Hardy sort of, they basically, I know they weren't the first to do it, but they basically mainstreamed the Cinnatomic matches kind of thing. And you've seen they are great for hiding weaknesses and amplifying strengths kind of thing. So it suits Taker down to the ground. Like I said, Styles is the perfect guy to go up against for Taker. Because Styles is without a doubt one of the greatest wrestlers ever.
They're really close friends in real life as well. Like they go to church and stuff together, which is not my bag, baby, but that's fine. It was like
AJ will be trying to convince him that the world is flat.
Crazy people, man. There's flat earthers all around the world. I love that sentence. It's ridiculous. But it must be such an honor to be hand chosen basically by an absolute legend like the Undertaker for a match, and AJ Styles was hand selected. So it was a great match. I enjoyed it. Loads of fun. It's on YouTube, but like you say, you've got the
I've got access to the network now, so
I've got the network now. So get it watched, dude. It's good.
Sweet. Right, I am going to start off with. I tried to find sort of random ones that I didn't think people would watch. So I got one from. I did the smart thing of putting all my matches down on my phone in my notebook, and also I'm using my phone right now to record this. So I don't have access to my information. But I think it was from about 2006, 2007. It was basically Rey Mysterio versus CM Punk versus Batista versus Undertaker in a fatal four-way for the title. Taker went into it as the champion. They kind of played up the whole respect thing between Ray and Batista. I think Batista had just come back at this point, and Punk still had long hair and was still running the straight edge society gimmick. And awesome match, very, very cool match. The dynamics of all four guys, it literally started straight away, and Punk just donkey punched Ray out the ring to start off with and got out the ring, and then just left Batista and Taker to go at it for five minutes or so. And you just had the behemoths going at each other. I was never really a big Batista fan back in the day. I got why people enjoyed him, but whenever I go back now and watch some of the older matches, I'm starting to get a bit of love for Big Dave. He was very good at what he did, and that suited Taker down to the ground. Those two had, if I remember correctly, actually they had a couple of banging matches anyway. When just a rivalry. And then you throw Ray in there. Ray got his 5-10 minutes of just running around like a crazy fool. And I would highly recommend this match to anyone who's got the network. Just go check it out. Punk's just a snivelling little twat bag in his heel persona.
Go figure.
But Taker wins. Obviously keeps the title, but it's very, very well done. And I think all four guys involved were awesome. And obviously I can use the hashtag CM Punk now in this description and get lots of views over it.
Very nice. I do remember Batista and Undertaker, like 06, 07. Remember their feud went on for quite a while, but like I really enjoyed. I can't remember them individually, but like I remember like that period being like this feud's been really good. I enjoyed.
We had a Cell match at some point.
It did me an enjoy.
I'm thinking of Batista and Triple H and Hell in a Cell. I know Big Dave's had a Cell match, but I can't remember if it was with Taker or Trips.
Triple H, I think.
It was Triple one. I mean, Taker's had some awesome rivalries. Again, this is why I sort of saying it's a 50. The second part of his career was outshone his, the first half by a country mile. I don't know if that's because of the talent he had to work with, but you look at his feuds with Edge. He had an awesome with Edge over time. He had the storyline with Randy Orton. It helped take Orton to the next level with the whole Legend Killer thing.
I loved that gimmick. It was great.
Batista. Obviously, you know, the ongoing arc with Shawn Michaels. I just think, yeah, you know, he had some awesome second half of his career. So
after he returned to the Dead Man rather than the American Bodos.
I think he had some awesome matches. I've got another match I watched was joined with the American Badass persona. So I'll go into that afterwards. But yeah, man, I enjoyed the American Badass gimmick. I thought it ran its course. It didn't stay too long, but it was needed at the time just to kind of breathe, you know, life into it.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I enjoyed it, but like
Mr. Palmer,
I don't recall it all that much. But I'll never get over him coming out to Limp Bizkit rolling. I just thought it was like ridiculous. Like, this is just a bit too much. I think at the time I was a huge Limp Bizkit fan, but then when I saw them, when that album came out and they blew up and I saw them on Top of the Pops, I just like I got really turned off by them. And then I saw Undertaker coming out to that song. I was just like, oh my word, this is weird. But anyway.
Mr. Palmer, what have we got?
For me, I think it was his first face turn. Going back to early 90s again. His feud against Jake Roberts.
Yes.
Jake Roberts.
Oh, nice.
Completely and utterly terrorizing Macho Man Savage and Elizabeth the Snake. Terrorizing him at their wedding with a snake. And then getting Macho Man arm bitten by a snake. And Taker's involved somehow. Taker stops Jake Roberts hitting Macho Man and Elizabeth with a chair because they're going to ambush him. He's going to ambush them both with a chair. It was like Saturday night's main event or something like that. Takes a chair away from him. Jake Roberts just says, "Whose side are you on?" Taker just says, "Not yours."
One of the first times that he properly spoke as well, wasn't it? That was.
Yeah.
Because he'd not really spoken before then. Or he just said "rest in peace," and that was it.
Rest in peace. This one's just not yours. Like, yeah, that's cool.
For some reason, well, the fans have really gone behind him, haven't they? Kind of, the fans basically turned him face because he was getting like awesome reactions, even though he's meant to be this big time heel. You know, this indestructible dead man, no personality, doesn't sell, but the fans just bought into the character so much. They literally turned him face. I watched that Jake Roberts match today, you know, as part of this.
Nice.
It was just like, wasn't much of a match to talk about. It's, you know, a very old school Taker match, but just to see Jake Roberts was just like, that's quality. And the commentators, when he sat up after that first DDT, you know, just literally like disbelief, because at that point nobody had ever kicked out of a DDT kind of thing. It was just absolutely, yeah, that was quality. But like I say, it's just old school Taker. Just, you know, when it was still real to most people kind of thing. Just that whole factor. The audience bought into it and were just electric for it.
Absolutely, yeah. People were just absolutely into Taker at that point. I think it was probably Hogan levels of popularity.
Well, I think so. I know it wasn't a clean win, but they had Taker go beat Hogan for the title, didn't they? You know, around that time period. So even though he lost it a couple of days later due to Ric Flair's interference or whatever, good old Jack Tunney working his using his power.
Putting the title up at the Royal Rumble.
That's the one. And with a tear in his eye, history was made. Mr. Ash, what we got, dude? What's your next match?
Well, I watched a couple throughout the day because kind of just didn't get around to watching any others on any other day. So I had a scooted through a few on YouTube just to like narrow it down because I knew only like a select few would be on YouTube. So I've kind of just gone for the YouTube choices.
It's good shout.
Which is a little
people
bit.
Are watching this on YouTube and you don't have access to the network. Any of these matches, go watch them.
Yeah, for sure. So the In Your House 96 Buried Alive match against Mankind.
Yes.
I just enjoyed it. It was good. Great chemistry. Mankind was just like, again, just perfect foil. One of many perfect foils with Undertaker. Like we all know and love Mick Foley for many reasons. The guy can just take a hellacious beating and just keep on going. But the chemistry that they had, and they looked good together. Mankind was the big heel, and then to try and defeat Undertaker, like it was Triple H came out as the Hunter Hearst Helmsley, like Goldust, and then there was Crush and the Executioner. They all came out and they were all just like shoveling dirt into this hole for like literally it felt like about 10 minutes. It was hilarious. And then right at the end, Undertaker's glove just like comes out of the grave. But
I forgot about him.
I enjoyed that. Yeah.
Poor Gordy, from being a fabulous freebird to being an executioner.
I know, crazy man. I didn't realise he passed away so young.
It's just, wow, as you say young, it's probably average age for wrestlers around that time period.
I suppose so, yeah. It was like 40, I think. Yeah.
Well, as we were saying, based on that match, it's a point that's been, I've read somewhere or heard somewhere, saying that probably before Mick Foley turned up, I mentioned it before we started recording, that Taker hadn't really had a great match. He's had a few good matches, possibly, against like Yokozuna. I think him and Nash might have worked a little bit of magic at some point. Him and Brett, definitely, when they were in the ring together. But, that's Bret Hart's in there, of course, it's going to be a good match. But I think Foley brought out the aspect of Taker that actually showed him he could wrestle. He was a good wrestler, not just a good character.
For sure, yeah.
I think Foley deserves a hell of a lot of credit for relaunching Taker's career personally, because I think at that point, before he turned up, he was getting dry. I went through.
Stale.
Yeah, he was getting stale. And then, obviously Mick Foley came in and breathed a whole new life of new breath of air into the character, relaunched him, gave Taker something to get his teeth into. And I think it's in the comments on Facebook, somebody mentioned he thought it was a little bit shitty that Taker didn't mention Foley in his Hall of Fame speech.
Yeah, not cool, man.
He mentioned the Hell in a Cell match, which was one of the most iconic matches, I'd say, in history of the WWE. But not to give Foley a shout out, I think that's a little bit. I'd agree with that. I think because just based on Foley giving Taker that resurgence, I think he deserves a shout.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was a shame. But again, referencing that JR Slobberknocker book I finished reading recently, Undertaker was brought in specifically to just work an angle with the Undertaker, and then anything else after that was.
Oh my God! Yeah, Foley.
Yeah.
I mean, knowing straight away it'd be like the perfect foil.
Yeah. So that the whole idea was for him to just work with Undertaker, and then anything after that was just let's see what happens.
Yeah, which basically Foley pretty much carried him through until the arrival of Kane, which then took the next 2 years of Taker's storylines, really.
That's gotta be Kane!
One of the best introductions ever in wrestling.
That guy was like, I'm a mad horror movie fan, but even as like a 10-year-old seeing Kane, I think I was always wired to just want to see kind of shocking horror kind of things. Obviously, Undertaker was a little bit of a glimpse into that, like the dark side and all that kind of stuff. But then seeing Kane walking out of fire, looking the way he did, holy shit, dude! He blew my 10-year-old mind. Like that the first time, that first bit of his run, I was obsessed. It was incredible.
You think Kane was scary, man? Isaac Yankem scared the shit out of me.
I'm all right with dentists. I'd rather not go, but I'm not too fussed.
But so since we mentioned it previously, the whole Dead Man, American Badass sort of persona, one of the matches I watched, and I always give this match a shout out to people, more so when they're taking shots at RVD. I'm a massive fan of RVD. I know it's not everybody's taste, it's about 50-50. But if anybody's ever going to besmirch him or slag him off, I'll always recommend they watch the hardcore title match against The Undertaker. I think it was at Vengeance or Unforgiven 2002. It's just a hell of a match. It's it's mental to see Taker in one of these matches because obviously it's not his bread and butter.
It's a hell of a match for a hardcore title match, like the lowest of all the titles available, and it's literally a match that could main event any pay-per-view with the right story behind it.
RVD's on his game on that day. Taker's on his game. Taker's selling like a motherfucker for RVD. And this is like 4 years before RVD actually got the world title. But in my head, I'm like, Taker's selling, for him in this. He's got to have so much respect for him that it's just surprising me it took him so long to get the world title, after this match. Because Taker's there like wobbling, like he's delivering moves and then just wobbling afterwards. RVD's hitting him with stuff and Taker's just sparking out. As you'd expect from a hardcore match, it goes out of the ring, it goes around the audience, it goes up to the entranceway. It's just Taker goes for a last ride. RVD manages to jump off onto the signpost at the side, starts trying to climb up, kicking Taker in the face. Taker slams him down. There's Van Daminators. There's choke slams off the stage. There's attempted tombstones on the ramp. It's just a hell of a match. It's a good story. RVD hits a flying crossbody from about 25 foot up. JR loses his shit. It's awesome. Highly recommend anybody to watch that match. And if you haven't got any love for RVD before watching it, hopefully you'll have a little bit more afterwards.
RVD's awesome, man. Can't wait to see him at 1PW.
Yeah,
it's gonna be incredible. Literally the whole
incredible, but also
effing show.
Go in with low expectations, because I remember watching him on Impact a few years back, and it's like, I remember RVD, late 90s, obviously, the matches with Jerry Lynn in ECW, the matches against Jeff Hardy and Undertaker and stuff in WWE. And I saw him in Impact a couple of years ago. It's like, dude's lost a step up.
He's a bit slow and sluggish in comparison, but the guy's he's like in his 50s.
Dude's awesome, yeah, don't get me wrong. But that's what I'm saying. When I'm going to watch him live, I'm going in with realistic expectations. If he hits a 3-star Fox match, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Or it's not Rolling Thunder anymore; it's Rolling Drizzle. But RVD's awesome. He always will be. Go watch that match. Mr. Palmer, what's on your mind for next?
I've got another. Well, this time it's a American Badass one. The first Triple H match, and I mean the first Triple H match at WrestleMania 17. Yes, that one where they just beating the shit out of each other for so long. Ref takes a bomb. They try to revive the ref and just fucking smash the ref down again. It's so funny. And then they go all around through the crowd brawl, up the camera stanchion, choke slam, and then Triple H just goes out of sight, just goes down, past the camera gantry, whatever it is. And at that point, you're just like, oh shit, what the fuck's happened? He must be dead. They replay it, and Triple H just stands because he's landed on a crutch, man. But
it's the magic of that first shot, and then it's like,
first shot, yeah.
Oh my God, they killed him! What? Looks like a goddamn car wreck. No, it's
disappeared out of the sight. Oh no, there he is. He's on a crash.
Nope.
But back in the ring, I think Hunter tries to hit Taker with a sledgehammer, gets him the first time, sort of gets him the second time, but he hits it, and the sledgehammer bit comes out and it hits Taker in the head and busts him open. So he's got a little blood pouring down, but obviously Taker wins because his streak goes on. But yeah, the first of the WrestleMania matches of Triple H and Undertaker, that one's it's not the best of the three, but it's the one that never gets spoken about for some weird reason. Where it's brushed under the carpet. But,
I think it's because it's on WrestleMania 17, isn't it? I think any wrestling fan will state WrestleMania 17 as being up there. Some people say it's the best. Some people will be in the top 5. I think that card was just so full across the board that this match is very easy to forget about, even though it shouldn't be. I think on any other Mania, it would have been contender for match of the night. But because it was 17, it was just solid. But yeah, it's an awesome match.
Just refresh my memory, was WrestleMania 17, was that Hogan Rock?
No, that was
19.
19.
19.
Yeah. I'll have seen 17, but it's
Austin,
been like obviously a lot of years.
WrestleMania 17 was the Austin turn.
So was it Austin Rock then?
17, yeah.
Yeah, right, okay. Yeah,
it's where
fair enough, man. Yeah. Because
he sold his soul to the devil.
I have seen that show, but it was a lot of years ago. I don't remember it as well as crystal clear as you guys do. But I remember the Stone Cold Rock match.
Tell me, you remember the golf carts with Kane and the Big Show and Raven?
The Hardcore Championship match.
The Hardcore title match and the golf carts backstage.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. You see Big Show nearly just get whacked out by a golf cart. Oh, yeah.
It's good go-to WrestleMania.
Good fun.
A good go-to.
It's got the best promo video ever as well, I think, and it was the build up to the Austin Rock match. Limp Bizkit, My Way, and it's just segments of the Rock and the Austin just build up to the match.
This video is sponsored by Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, it's true. So Ash, what was your next YouTube find?
So I absolutely forgot about this match and loved the hell out of it when I watched it earlier today. I couldn't get enough of it. So it was No Way Out 2006 World Heavyweight Championship versus Kurt Angle. It was just like Kurt Angle was the wrestling machine. I think it was a few months before he left the company and went to Impact ultimately, but it was just like, it was so good. It was just so good. Angle's on it, and Undertaker was on it. They just worked so well together, and I thought the finish was perfect, really, because like Undertaker thought he'd won with the Hell's Gate. He had him in the submission, and then all of a sudden, like Kurt Angle's managed to like do a flip over and do a bridge, and then he's pinned him and retains. I thought it was a very creative finish, and it worked very well. But then Undertaker afterwards just like picks him up and throws him in the corner and says, "I'm not finished with you, boy."
And then Angle runs off to Impact.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Seems like you are finished, because I'm going over here now.
As well. Is he wearing Godfather's trousers? Or is that a different one?
Oh,
it's like
I think that's
not got his usual trousers.
I think he had his
snakeskin style trousers, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he just had his black tights on.
I think that was 2002-ish.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly, that was one of the those two guys have had loads of quality matches. It was a staple from about 2002 to about 2003. I think those two having quality matches randomly, throughout time. I do, that 2006 one, because it had been a while. So I think Angle had been on ECW for a little while prior to that. So it'd been kind of like, not been seen really that much. And those two guys always had awesome chemistry. Whether it was the size difference, the speed, the technical, Taker being a brawler, obviously Angle just being a Mac God.
One of the most underappreciated dudes in the business. I think obviously he's obviously revered like highly, but every time I watch him, I'm just like, fucking hell, this guy's incredible.
Angle's amazing.
Yeah, dude.
I do want to do a spotlight episode on him at some point, because he's just got that many moments, and the character is that diverse as well.
The cowboy hat.
Spraying milk.
It kills me. Absolutely kills me.
It's just, to being an actual legitimate badass, you get in that ring with somebody, you piss them off, you fucked, basically. No shortcuts. Yeah. So, but that was quality match. I would recommend anybody watch any Taker Angle match, because they're just always on par.
I remember they had a feud when he was the American Badass. I forget what show it was, but I remember it was when the pay-per-views would be on Channel 4, and I recorded it onto VHS. But it was like
Must have been either Backlash or Vengeance, I think. Channel 4 had 4. They had the Royal Rumble, they had Backlash, I think they had Vengeance, and then they had the last one, but I think it might have been Survivor Series, or it might have been Armageddon. Oh, it was Armageddon, because Miss Kitty got her boobies out on Channel 4.
So it was one of those shows, but I remember distinctly Kurt Angle ended up smashing Undertaker in the knee with like a big monkey wrench thing, and then he hobbles to the ring. He's hobbling around the backstage trying to find him. He's like, I'm gonna make you pay, boy, or something like that. Just like stereotypical tough guy talk. And then I don't remember the match. I just literally remember Kurt Angle just being like a sniveling little weasel heel, which he was so good at.
That's it. Whether he's, like I said, the guy's just, whether he was in a team with Ed and Christian, being the geeky comedy relief, it worked every angle really well, pun intended, just really well.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this one for James, because I know I'm going to mention this match for James, because I know it's one of his favourite ever WrestleMania matches. That would be, you alluded to the first Triple H match. I'm going to allude to the end of an era Triple H match with Shawn Michaels as the guest referee in the Hell in a Cell. I'm just mentioning this match because if you haven't seen it, my God, go and watch it. Please go and watch this match. And if you're not on the edge of your seat by the end of it, if you're going into this for the first time and you don't know, you know who's going to win, but you just know how you'll get the experience of how close it was to the streak ending on that night, or you genuinely believe it. Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Those 4 years consecutively, 2 with HBK and 2 with Triple H, like those 4 matches were just incredible. Yeah. Like what a run of matches.
I think prior to that he had one against Edge. I think the one before that I can't remember who it was, but I remember it being a banger as well. I think he had about 6 consecutively very strong WrestleMania matches.
It always made me laugh that Shawn Michaels would call himself Mr. WrestleMania, and then Undertaker's like, so what am I?
Hold my beer.
Yeah, literally.
But yeah, that match against Triple H. I don't know if you've seen it, Ash, or if you remember it.
The kick out.
Have you seen the Hell in a Cell against Trips with Michaels as guest referee?
I've seen those matches many times.
Yeah, it's just the storyline.
Sick, dude.
I know. I was a big fan of the CM Punk match that Taker at Mania. I thought very underappreciated. But for me, if Taker had called it a night after this, that was the perfect. That would have been the perfect ending. Streak still intact. They say end of an era. It is what it is. It says it is in title. Just wrap it up, man. Obviously, he couldn't. And
please don't go to Saudi Arabia. Oh wait.
Yeah. Don't tag against Kane against the DX, or don't try and wrestle Goldberg. Yeah.
Have you seen that match? It was the biggest shit show ever. Like everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. Like,
why did Goldberg go into it concussed because he freaking headbutted the door before the match, as he normally does? He fucking knocked himself out.
He came out bleeding. It was bleeding. Yeah, the guy's a fucking stupid idiot.
He's already busted open.
Yeah.
Who's next?
Please don't ever do a Goldberg Spotlight video.
I mean, well,
I don't know. We could focus on him kicking Bret Hart in the head, or getting pissed off at Regal for Regal trying to show him how to wrestle.
Rob,
that 5-minute match he had with Brock was good.
Yes.
3 moves in 5 minutes or whatever it was. That was really good. But the rest of the time, don't do a Spotlight episode.
Yeah, shout out to actually, because I know so many people that had stopped watching wrestling, years and years and years prior to that, that actually still knew that I watched it. And when I went to work the next day after that, everybody was like, did Brock Lesnar just get beaten 5 minutes by Goldberg? I was like, pretty much. Literally about 10 people I know who are lapsed wrestling fans. That match just blew up, got so many people talking. So, kudos to Goldberg for that, and kudos to 2K as well, because it was pretty much a walking advert for that year's WWE game.
Yes, he was. That was good. Was that the one where he's getting broken out of prison?
What's that?
Goldberg being advertised in 2K.
I can't remember. The only thing I can think of is Moxley. You know, when Moxley got his release, the only thing I could think of is Moxley's promo vids, like he was getting out of prison. Right. But yeah, that Hell in a Cell match, go watch it. Everybody involved, fucking awesome. It's just violence. The emotion showed by Michaels in the corner. He's like, dude looks like he's genuinely nearly in tears. And just like, what the hell have I got to do? Then it's just like, yeah.
He super kicks Taker into a pedigree. And then he kicks out of the pedigree and then Sean's like, holy shit. Oh, it's fucking emotional fucking roller.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I was in bits watching that match for the first time. Absolutely in bits. Like, holy shit, what are we watching here?
A grown man shouldn't be feeling these emotions while watching a wrestling match, but it's just like...
The only times I ever cry are when I watch wrestling. Or when my little girl starts school, you know, that happened.
There you go. Both are very acceptable. Mr. Palmer, what are we up to?
My last one, again, it's kind of more of a moment than a match. It has Taker, badass Taker, going up against Vince McMahon, Mr. McMahon in the Buried Alive match. And he's beating the living shit out of Vince. Vince is busted open, crimson mask. You think he's going to beat him, and he's dragged Vince towards a graveyard for some reason. There's like a makeshift graveyard, I think because of the Buried Alive.
They always had it, yeah, by the entrance, they always had that little...
Yeah, by the entrance. Yeah. So, he's going to throw Vince into the grave, but no, who's there? Kane. Kane grabs Taker. Taker buries... Kane buries Taker. And that's it. Vince wins the match. And Kane's just there going, ah! So, fast forward, like, a few months, you got the Royal Rumble, Kane's in the ring. Dong!
I remember that, yeah.
Shit. What's going on? But no.
And he comes back with like emo length hair.
It's the
It was back at WrestleMania 24, but they tease it, don't they?
Yeah, you tease it, and you've got like Kane's in the ring on an episode of Raw or SmackDown, and it's thunder and lightning and the ring's shaking. Kane's just like, no, what's going on? Then you get to WrestleMania 20. And Kane's made his entrance. Kane's in the ring, and then the lights go out, and then you say, "Oh yeah!" Again,
incredible.
It's Paul Bearer, and he's got the urn, and he's coming out of the entranceway with the druids holding fire. The set on fire as well, which is really stupid. And Taker comes back, and he's got his long hair. It's shoulder length.
Emo hair, yeah.
Emo hair,
yeah. It takes him about 15 minutes to get to the fucking ring as well.
Totally awesome.
Yeah.
Seeing a dead man back after so many fucking years, and it's in like the 2000s as well. It's like, yeah. And obviously he has his match with Kane. It's not much of a match, but it's a moment. Dead man take his back.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. I remember that.
And there was much rejoicing.
It was just, it was just awesome. Like you sort of said, I think the American Badass gimmick had run its course. But when that Taker came back, he kind of kept some aspects of Big Evil in it. He still had like the MMA gloves. Yeah. So he was still the Undertaker, but he was kind of like an amalgamation of both. In the sense of the way that he fought, because he was still the brawler. And he still did like
the best pure striker.
Did that on his way out. Yeah, the best pure striker in WWE history.
Getting people in the corner. Always did that in the corner.
I would say Shane McMahon's the best pure striker in WWE history.
Potato Man.
Oh, he landed that one. His hand's like a full yard away from the guy's face. Too funny.
So, well, a sidebar. You mentioned Shane O'Mac. When we do the Kurt Angle episode, there will be a Shane O'Mac Kane Kurt Angle match involved in that, just to forewarn you. So we'll save the Shane O'Mac pleasantries.
Yeah.
Until that match.
Pleasantries.
I'll say pleasantries. We'll be nice. But yeah, man, that was an awesome moment. I thoroughly. Again, just seeing Taker back as Taker just popped me huge, and seeing that entrance, it was just quality. And it's just like, and that was pretty much it. Then he pretty much stayed as that character until it didn't need reinvention after that, did it?
And then that was that till the end of his career,
yeah. Like I say, tweaked it a little bit here and there, but there's no massive sort of like, corporate ministry Taker, satanic Taker, incarnation. It was just Taker. Random fact I found out today whilst I was doing a little bit of research for the show. He made his debut, it was about 1988, against Bruiser Brody.
Oh, really?
And Percy Pringle was his manager in his first ever match.
No way.
In Texas,
wow.
Yep.
Yeah, wow.
So there you go. The paths were entwined for many years to come after that. So, but yeah, man, I saw a bit of highlight of it as well online, and yeah, Bruiser Brody against Taker, man. Those both guys were just big boys, just whapping the shit out of each other.
I never understood the whole brother love coming out with him. When he made his debut at Survivor Series, obviously was he like a preacher and stuff? It's like that kind of era I've not seen loads of because I was only 3 when it happened.
I don't really remember the whole brother love gimmick. I think it's some kind of weird ass preacher, one from the City of Love.
Yeah, he just came out, had an interview segment, face was red, wore a white suit, and I love you. He was a heel,
good old Bruce pictures.
Had faces on, slagged them off. Some of them would get physical with him, and that was it. And then for some reason, he was the manager of Taker for a little bit, and then he just.
I don't think they had Pringle on the books at that point, did they? And obviously they wanted to put him with a manager, so he had a mouthpiece. Yeah. So obviously, I think a month, 2 months down the line, there's like, this doesn't make any sense. Who would you like to be your manager? Obviously, get Mr. Pringle in. Jobs are good. That's it. The rest is history until he's buried in cement.
Yes.
Poor. What did Taker just sacrifice him in a big ass block of cement? Was he fighting the Dudleys at the time or something? Was it like 2-on-1 against the Dudleys?
2-on-1 against the Dudleys, and then he beat him, but he killed him anyway. It was like, what the fuck? He said something like, I love you, but I still have to kill you, or something like that. And just...
You're my weakness. You're my one weakness. It's that kind of thing, isn't it? Jesus. I can't be who I'm meant to be with you here. Yeah. But yeah, I think have you got any more matches, Ash?
Yeah. I'll mention one quickly, and then I will get on to my actual choice. So I was watching the Yokozuna match from it was from '94. I forget the event now. I had it written in a note earlier, but I must have.
Rumble?
Can't remember, man. It was a casket match against Yokozuna.
Oh, that was WrestleMania.
Was it? Yeah.
I'll say WrestleMania 12.
Yeah.
Or 13.
Maybe. I think it was. Now you say, but BSK represent.
Oh no! It was SummerSlam. Was it the one where the ghost comes up afterwards, like a rising spirit?
No.
He did one after he had a casket match. It was like he was raising from the earth and he was going up to the heavens. He did like a whole big special effects thing on the Titan floor.
It wasn't.
Oh, you remember that surely?
That wasn't this one.
I can't remember this.
Yeah, it was just a random one on YouTube. I thought I'd give it a watch because obviously they were like really good friends in real life. Was it BSK? Was that the name of the little crew and stuff? Something like that. Yeah, he had it tattooed on his stomach, didn't he? But the things that stuck with me the most were the urn at the time looked like the FA Cup. It was just absolutely giant. So it's probably a good thing that they made it smaller as the years went by. And also Taker, I think it was this match, although it could have, now I'm thinking about it, it could have been the Mankind match that I mentioned earlier. he did a top rope clothesline, like what Kane kind of made his own, just in the way that like Kane did it. So it was like literally it was the same moveset, two guys with the same moveset. But I'd never seen Undertaker do the top rope clothesline, only ever Kane. So I watched it and just thought, whoa, okay, cool, fair enough. I might have forgotten it, but anyway. So my actual choice was you mentioned it earlier, I think, Nick. It was the Edge against Edge at WrestleMania 24.
Yeah.
And the only thing I've got written down in my notes is the word psychology, just because I thought it was so well thought out. Like, it just felt like Edge had everything on his side. It was kicking out of everything. He was countering everything. He had the Edge heads, Brian Myers. I forget his name. Was it
Kurt Hawkins?
Kurt Hawkins. I was going to say, is it something Hawkins? And Matt Cardona, Zack Ryder, or whatever it was. It was Zack Ryder, wasn't it? Yeah. He's killing it now, by the way. Matt Cardona, awesome. Fuck Matt Cardona. But yeah, it just felt like it was a uphill, too big of a mountain to climb for the Undertaker. Was he going to lose? No, he obviously was going to win. But yeah, it was just a well thought out, well carried out match. Really good. I always really liked Edge as a heel. He was just a little bastard. So yeah, I do like Edge.
Edge is awesome.
So yeah,
big fan of Edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that match. I remember that match specifically because I've watched it quite a lot of times because it came free. It's like a bonus feature on one of the WWE 2K games. And it was there on Blu-ray to watch whenever you wanted. So I'm fed up playing, so I watched the Undertaker Edge Mania match. And yeah, man, it was like one of the first times. It was just as Blu-rays were coming out as well, and it was like Blu-ray. It was a HD match. Watched on my PlayStation, and it was just awesome. I just couldn't stop watching it because of the quality of it, kind of thing. The visually, and of course, it's a fucking awesome match as well.
Yeah, it was loads of fun. It was really loads of fun.
I think they had a good feud for like pretty much all. I think our feud started at the Rumble, and it pretty much went on for quite a bit because I think Vicky Guerrero was involved at some point as well.
Quite
she
possibly,
was a GM, wasn't she? So she was kind of trying to make it an uphill battle for Taker as well.
Excuse me.
I'm so glad that she's not on AEW much anymore.
Yeah, she was just terrible on that. There was no use for her on that show.
Obviously, love the dynasty, love the legacy. A surname grants her respect every day of the week. But yeah, just please don't talk on my television. So if you've got a mind for wrestling, keep it backstage. Give people ideas. Just don't say excuse me again. If I never hear that again on my TV, I'll be quite happy.
The thing with Vicky Guerrero, like, she's been managing Nyla Rose for ages, but like Nyla Rose can talk and she's really funny. So Vicky Guerrero doesn't really need to be there. Nah. So yeah. No need for her on that show. Just let Nyla Rose talk because she's hilarious.
Unfortunately, it was a name thing. I think it's one of the AEW mistakes of she's a recognizable name, so we'll use her. Don't need to.
I can see that, but yeah, I also see her worth. She's been around for a long time. She knows a fair bit.
That's what I'm saying. Keep her backstage. Keep her backstage and get her input, definitely. But yeah, Edge Taker, awesome feud. I think we should do some honorary mentions because there's still. I mean, the dude's, like I said before I went on air, I might have said it on air. The dude's career spanned like 5 decades. That we're never going to cover every single awesome match he had, or every single awesome moment. I mean, we talked about it before we came on. The whole Maven thing. That stands up to this day. Yeah. That stands up to this day for me. How quietly watch that. Just take his reaction when he realised he's been knocked out of the Rumble by Maven. He's like, excuse me. He drags him up the stairs into like the popcorn area and just bludgeons the guy, and it's like, fucking hell.
He tried to kill
poor Maven, just coming off and tough enough. And it's like, yeah, paying your dues. Yeah, he gets smashed over by Taker. But really well done. Not like the other dude who got his ass kicked in the Rumble by Guerrero, Benoit. What's his name? Daniel Puder.
Daniel Puder.
Daniel Puder got his ass kicked legitimately at the Rumble.
Unlucky him, like he won like £250,000. Well, he's supposed to be $1 million. It was supposed to be $1 million.
Yeah.
Because he won Tough Enough and he was supposed to get 250.
4-year contract, wasn't it?
Yeah. But they screwed him over. He got the 250,000, whatever it was, and then they fucking tracked him. Oh shit.
I know. But at least they gave Maven a bit of a push. At least Taker was nice with it. But yeah, I'll always remember the whole Maven thing. I thought that was quality. Bless him. They tried to get him over. It's even with Undertaker's rub, it wasn't happening. And the Jeff Hardy ladder match on Raw.
Yeah, absolutely. I was very close to watching that earlier today, but I chose to watch something else because it was I think it was short.
But that was the first time, because at that time Taker was an out and out heel, wasn't he? And that match was like the first sign of any kind of heart or soul, or a little bit of a face reaction. And like Jeff worked that hard and impressed him that much. He even got Taker to be a nice guy for like 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's a very good shout. Any other memorable moments?
Ric Flair, the first time they acknowledged the streak, really, at WrestleMania 18. When he did this, he beat Ric Flair.
I watched that one earlier. Yeah.
They're doing the thing. So it was like then, from that point onwards, it was like, the streak. They could easily have ended the streak earlier with maybe by having the Legend Killer kill Taker. The streak wouldn't have been a thing. Even up to that point, the streak really wouldn't have been a thing. But from that point onwards, they started acknowledging it. So, yes.
Yeah.
We made it. Yeah.
It became just like a WrestleMania thing itself, didn't it? Kind of thing. It was as big as a title match. Can you end the Taker streak kind of thing? But yeah, I watched that Flair match earlier, and that was just Taker at his badass goodness kind of thing.
Spine buster in it.
Oh, yeah, the spine buster by Arn. I was just like, Jesus Christ. The pine on the spine, or spine on the pine. That was, and then he just beats the living shit out of Arn afterwards. You're like, Arn. Any other memorable moments? I would think obviously you had the Kane storylines. Obviously Hell in a Cell, 98.
Yeah, absolutely.
King of the Ring, 98. There's always going to get a mention. Probably one of his most iconic matches outside of WrestleManias.
Sure, yeah. And the fact he worked that match with like a broken foot as well. It's just crazy.
That match, to climb the hell with a broken foot, is fucking ridiculous. You're just like,
and then Mankind to take the bump that he took and then suffer a dislocated shoulder and internal bleeding and stuff, and then still come out and climb back up the cage a second time. That's fucking insane. But we know.
And then suffered an even worse bump. And then he suffered an even worse bump on the inside because that one wasn't planned.
Yeah, absolutely.
The chair legitimately.
That's it. He's dead.
But thankfully, he's in there. With Taker, you got a little bit of a Taker Terry Funk moment going on. We kicks Terry Funk in the face.
Completely unscripted, just working in the moment. Terry Funk, absolutely doing great things there.
Terry Funk's trainers come off.
I remember that.
Because he's like, the chokeslammed him so hard, they've chokeslammed him out of his shoe.
Speaking of chokeslamming him so hard, I remember around that time of the Channel 4 run, Undertaker and Big Show were like a tag team, absolutely just dominating everybody. And then I think maybe they fell out and it ended up being Big Show versus Undertaker. And I remember so clearly like the chokeslam through the ring, like Big Show chokeslammed Undertaker through like the ring, and it absolutely blew my mind. It's like seared into my memory. I remember that going back a long time.
Taker's rub as well for Brock Lesnar and Hell in a Cell. The first ever Brock Lesnar Taker Hell in a Cell match. Definitely worth checking out.
Yeah.
It was brutal, bloody. And again, it kind of leveled Brock up for me at that point. I think Taker helped very muchly cement Brock as an absolute beast.
Yeah, for sure. And I can't remember matches in particular, but like Stone Cold and Undertaker were just made to work
98,
together.
99. Yeah, that pretty much ran for like 2 years, didn't it? That whole feud.
Yeah, they're just made to work together, weren't they? Because it was the whole ministry and stuff.
Yeah.
And this is the good guys.
Yeah. the shittest reveal ever in wrestling history. It was me, Austin. It was me all along.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. It wasn't you. You fucking lie. It was Christopher Daniels, but you said no.
Daniels, yeah.
The fallen angel was to blame.
What a guy. But no, I think, like I say, we're not going to touch everything on this. We might come back at another point and do a part 2. But yeah, I think everything we've discussed on here, I think it's one of the few spotlights where I think every match has been a banger. We've not actually focused really on any of the negatives. Nobody bothered to watch Giant Gonzalez or Kamala matches or casket matches against Mark Henry.
King Kong Bundy.
King Kong Bundy, fuck yeah. Yeah, we will focus on the positives when it comes to the Undertaker for sure. And yeah, unless anybody's got anything else to add, we've just hit the 1 hour mark. So I will let you guys get on with your nights. There we go.
Yeah,
you shall rest in peace.
Good.
Mr. Palmer, do you want to plug your Twitter?
Yeah, at Yardy316. Just usually retweeting loads of nonsense. Hit me up. Follow.
By nonsense, it doesn't mean work the left side, obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
Ash, obviously the more of a main man over on Facebook on the Work the Left Side group.
Yeah, for sure. And Instagram at Tankle_Grimoire. I'm on that like all the time.
There you go. More of an Insta. So you've got us all on Facebook, Ash on Insta, myself and Ryan on Twitter, and look us up on Twitter at WTLS420. And yeah, come say hi. Come see what we're tweeting, what we're talking about. Come agree with us or disagree. You know, you can't be right all the time.
And come and like the Instagram. It's WTLS316.
Oh, there you go. I forgot I did that one on 316. And obviously I did the Twitter one on 420. So there you go.
You're just confusing me, Nick.
Austin.
You're just confusing me.
There you go. Shout outs to Austin and RVD. So that's it, gentlemen. Thank you so much for helping me do this episode. It's been a blast as usual. And we will see you all soon. Got some guest announcements coming up. And I think next week we will be discussing 1PW before we go and watch that. So, Mr. Palmer, you can have the week off. Unless you fancy a trip up to Doncaster.
Yeah, good stuff.
If you're paying, then yeah.
Dude, I'm scared. I can't even afford to pay my Castle electric bill.
Oh, no. Nah.
Right. Right, we're out. Adios, gentlemen. I'll see you in a bit.
Peace out, humans.